Blizz are really, really, really pushing Xal'atath. Like, so hard. There was not just this. There's the official trailer. All of which you can download in 2K, by the way, which is fantastic.
Your mortal struggles, your proud defiance, the loneliness you pretend not to feel. You cling to hollow faith.
Love this graphic of
it can't sustain you. You revel in power that cannot withstand what is to come.
Like a whole other narration, by the way.
Convince yourselves that you are of purpose. That your great deeds can make a difference. But deep down, you know the truth. That when all your illusions are burned away, all that is left is your fury.
Your fury.
And in the end, your glorious fury will be mine.
So much. So much. I love her so much. I love the distorted music here as well. So like they push her really hard in this, and I don't think the other one that came out is narrated by her, but it still goes hard on the Xal'atath shit, right? Is it this one?
My visions.
Oh no, this is the features overview. What was the other cinematic that came out? Oh, was it the beta trailer?
The visions. Our world cries out for aid. Shadows gather.
This is a fucking banger as well, by the way.
Deep within the heart of Azeroth. Our fate hangs by a thread. And fear threatens to consume us all. Xal'atath is taunting us. To preserve our world.
So this sounds like it's going to be the main,
we must
like,
face
musical
the shadow. Together. The Harbinger is here.
That's like such a fucking... So, like, the interesting thing about... I love this trailer because it gives us some really cool hype footage of, like, zones and bosses, and I love this fucking airship battle. Something that I'm hoping to see more of, like, properly happening in 11.1 would be really, really cool. I've still got my money on airships for 11.1. That's what I'm looking at. We know there's going to be a big goblin influence in 11.1, but I'm really hoping that is like a framework for airship shit, right? That'd be really, really cool. But the other thing I love about this trailer is the cinematic kind of glimpses that we're getting as well. Like these are cinematics, you know, that we're seeing glimpses of here. I think this cinematic's really interesting because I think this cinematic here has replaced the one that we saw in the features trailer. The features trailer that we saw at BlizzCon showed basically this exact same thing happening, but it had Alleria in her green outfit getting like these visions and having like these moments where she's like, in Dalaran, but in her green outfit, right? Like this. And I think this has literally replaced it. because here she is in her new costume in Dalaran, having the exact same kind of thing happen to her. I think we'll never see the stuff that was in the features trailer in a proper cinematic. I think they've redone it, and I think, you know, we might get both. Yeah, but I suspect not. Tally, do you think when the raid with Zal as a boss in it will come, you will do every mechanic that will kill the raid team? Yeah, 100%. They cannot take me along in that raid because they're going to lose. No, this is definitely Alleria. We know this is her new look in The War Within. The question was always like, when will she change into this gear? And I think she's going to do it off screen. I think next time we see her at the beginning of the expansion, she'll just look like this. I don't think there'll be any explanation, honestly. You know. Oh, big change for a new short. Oh, do you think there'll be a new short story tonight? Yeah, that would make sense, actually, wouldn't it? Yeah, that would be good. But I love the like snippets of cinematic that we're seeing here. We saw it in the last trailer as well. And this one, which looks like it's from a cinematic as well. Maybe an in-game cutscene, actually, judging by the
Harbinger.
The anti-aliasing in it. I'm not sure. But it's definitely an in-game thing, which is great. There's other clips here. This looks like it's from a cinematic. That little bit with Queen Anstrek kind of walking along, and Xal'atath's eyes. Basically what I'm saying is, this bit where she's in shadow.
Touching us.
They are pushing Xal'atath so hard in every single cinematic, every single trailer or whatever. She's there, and they're really pushing like the void thing very, very hard as well. And I think that's great because I love Xal'atath, and you know, I think she's incredibly commercial and, you know, merchandisable, and like I think she will draw people to this game who haven't played for a while because she's a hot evil elf lady, and what could possibly go wrong, right? Yeah, exactly. She's just a very cool character, and they don't have to bother making her good or anything. She can just be bad. And you know, there was another character like that in a Blizzard property recently by the name of Lilith, and she was kind of done with pretty quick in the end. She had some incredible scenes throughout the kind of like the main campaign of Diablo 4. And then she was kind of gone. Kind of done. I don't think she was boring in Diablo 4. The bits that Lilith was in Diablo 4 were amazing. Like that scene where she just appears in the guy's room and is kind of like just all up in his face. One of like the best video game cutscenes I've ever seen in my life. So good. Like so good. And they kind of didn't make the most of her, honestly. And you know, the way that they're pushing her so hard, the way they're pushing Xal'atath into all of the promotional materials for The War Within, you know, they are positioning her front and center. They are like, this is the baddie. Here she is. Look how cool she is. She's everywhere. And not just that, the void is everywhere. Everything is void. Everything is void, this expansion, fam. Look at this shit. And, you know, I just can't help but feel it's got me scared, honestly, that she's going to end up being the boss and that we're going to end up killing her. It makes me scared that she's not going to make it to midnight and that she is going to be, you know, the thing that we take out in The War Within. Why is that a bad thing? Because I think that would be a waste of a really, really good character. She's had a terrific build-up. Now, obviously, she is going to play second fiddle at some point to Iridikron, and I think Iridikron will play second fiddle to, you know, a separate big bad as well. Like, there will be an ultimate big bad of The War Within, which is not Iridikron. If I had to take a guess right now as to who the final boss of the World Soul Saga would be, like the literal final boss in the final raid of the World Soul Saga, so at the end of the Last Titan, I would say Aman'Thul. I would guess Aman'Thul. It seems like the obvious choice. In my original thinking, I was like, I have no idea who the end boss of War Within is going to be, but I think the end boss of Midnight will be Xal'atath. And in defeating Xal'atath and the Void and protecting the Sunwell, we have allowed Iridikron to do his actual plan. And don't forget that wouldn't be the first time that we've seen Iridikron do that. Iridikron's tactics, his literal tactics to make his plans happen, we've seen it happen in the Dawn of the Infinite dungeon, is that he will take someone else along. He will make an alliance with another baddie, and he will do his plan while the other baddie is doing theirs. Like, this is exactly what he did with the Infinite Dragonflight. He took the Infinite Dragonflight along in the Time Ways with him, and we initially defeated him. We stopped Iridikron. Like, that's the story of the Dawn of the Infinite dungeon, is we beat Iridikron and we stopped it. But in doing so, we allowed the Infinite Dragons to claim Nosdormu and turn him into Murazond, right? So that was actually a much more immediate danger. So we actually had to go back in time and stop the Infinite Dragons. And even though we had defeated Iridikron first time, we had to reverse time so that he wasn't defeated, and we had to leave him to do his plan while I actually think it's like tremendously good storytelling. I think it's really, really good storytelling in that dungeon. I think it's so good. And it establishes an MO. It establishes like literal tactics that Iridikron does. And I'd be very surprised if those weren't replicated now that we've seen it. You know, if those weren't replicated in Midnight. So, like, you know, we know that we're spending Midnight saving the Sunwell from the Void. I think it makes sense that while we're doing that, and we finally do that, and we are like, yay, we did it. We beat the Void. They're gone forever. And it's like, and Iridikron's like, yeah, glad you spent all your time doing that. Glad I teamed up with the Void. That worked because now I'm doing my plan, right? It just seems to make sense. And we know that his plan is basically, we don't know how he's going to do it or whatever, but we know that his plan is basically just to get the attention of the Titans and draw them to this world so that he can fight them. So that he can bop them. That's basically it. Like, that's his plan. He wants to put the World Soul in danger so that the Titans come along, and he's got a plan for killing them when they get here. And so I think that's going to be the end of Midnight. We will defeat the Void, but Iridikron will turn up and be like, hey, I did my plan. Thanks for leaving me alone. The Titans come along, and he kills them. And that will be the end of Midnight. That's what I think. And so, you know, that plan always had, like, Xal'atath as being the final boss of Midnight, which makes a lot of sense. Because that expansion is meant to be reunifying all of, like, the elven kind of factions and what have you. She is technically an elf, although, you know, I am just confused. She is so front and center in all of the War Within promotional materials. You said Aman'Thul is the last baddie. Yeah, well, when I say he kills the Titans, there would be one Titan left, who I guess would be, I don't know, the last Titan? Equally, though, it could be Sargeras. Yeah, totally. It could equally be Sargeras. Do you think Iridikron survives the World Soul Saga, then? Oh, no. We'll take him out at some point. Probably in the last Titan, right? I would imagine, like, we'll probably take Iridikron out quite early on in the last Titan, like a Gul'dan-style boss, because it's like, well, we got to stop whatever he's doing, right? And then it will be like, that's when we uncover the conspiracy and, you know, what the Titans have really been doing and what World Souls really are, i.e. not Titans necessarily. So yeah, is what it is, right? But I'm just so scared with the amount that they're putting Xal'atath front and center here that they're going to kill her at the end of War Within. I am so scared that we will fight her at the end of War Within and beat her. You know? Am I being silly? Am I being stupid here? Am I being dumb? Okay, so let's have a poll. Okay. Let's do it. I want to find out what you think about this. Does Xal'atath make it to midnight? Yes. Order no. Let's put up that. Let's see what you think. Give me your opinions, O faithful. Tally, now you feel how I felt with Sylvanas, but I love Xal'atath so much. I truly believe they might fuck her up, sadly. Well, I think there's less to fuck up with Xal'atath. Like, Sylvanas was such a difficult balancing act, you know, because she was... The problem with Sylvanas was she wasn't a hero, she wasn't a bad guy, she was an anti-hero. Xal'atath is not that. Xal'atath is all bad. Xal'atath is just a baddie. And I think you can have so much more fun with that. You know, you haven't got to do a balancing act with Xal'atath. You're just like, you just need to enjoy how bad she is, which they tried to do with Sylvanas. And honestly, that's when I thought Sylvanas was at her best in BFA, when she was just being really bad and enjoying it. But because I think that just plays into what they needed more. But it is what it is, right? Let's have a look. Where are we at? Okay, so wow. Okay, 82% of you think that she's gonna make it to midnight. That's a lot of confidence right there, fam. That is very, very confident. I can't say I share your confidence, right? I hope that she does. I can't say I'm like 82% sure that she will make it to midnight. Now, of course, there are many ways where we could fight Xal'atath at the end of War Within and defeat her, but also lose, and that she could also make it to midnight. So, for example, the obvious way would be we fight her and we defeat her, but she succeeds in summoning the void, and actually we destroy her body, but she becomes her like true form. She becomes her true self, like whatever that is, and that becomes, you know, the real Xal'atath is the baddie for midnight. I would very much like that. I think that would be very cool. I think there's almost no doubt at all that she will bring in, you know, usher in, be the harbinger of the void at the end of this expansion, and that whatever happens, we will fail in stopping her from ushering in the void. But the question is, will she still be around to see, like, you know, will it be like a Razageth kind of thing where she trips it and she dies in doing so? Or will it be an Ashara kind of thing where she succeeds and, you know, is still available to be used, sort of thing? And I think, you know, it wouldn't surprise me. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if the original plan was to kill her at the end of the War Within. It wouldn't surprise me if that was the original plan, and it wouldn't surprise me if that plan has changed. It wouldn't surprise me that if in the last few months, when they've seen like the public reaction to her and how much people have loved her, because I think they have like consciously leaned into her more than they might have done otherwise. I wouldn't be surprised if there's been some memos going around like, okay, I know we planned for Shara to be the big boss of Midnight and for Xal'atath to die at the end of War Within, but new plan, guys. Xal'atath and Ashara. Midnight, yeah? Oh, yeah! That would be awesome. Can you imagine a double team of Xal'atath and Ashara? Be so cool. Metzen is never letting Zal go. Well, Xal'atath isn't a Metzen creation, don't forget. Like, you know, Metzen was done with WoW in WoD. Okay, so he might have had something to do with like the broad strokes of Legion, and he definitely, you know, had a lot to do with Chronicle, which kind of set up a lot of the lore for Legion. Absolutely. I would be very surprised if he created Xal'atath. And he certainly had nothing to do with bringing her back in BFA. That's the thing. So my worry is that he doesn't have as much affinity to Xal'atath as he has other characters. That would be my worry, right? Because like I feel it's quite natural he's just going to kind of favor characters that he is more invested in and that he's had more to do with kind of developing, right? Do you think they'll do an Ashara win where the thing she frees is also her undoing in some way? Maybe she just got tricked in a way too? Maybe, I guess. But then the Void, she is so into the Void. You know, there was always antagonism between Ashara and N'Zoth. Like, she was never portrayed as like the most dedicated, loyal follower of N'Zoth. It was always like a means to an end, and that was very much kind of doubled down on in the Warbringers with Ashara, which showed her as having a very antagonistic relationship to N'Zoth. Very friction kind of based. I don't think that's the case with Xal'atath. Xal'atath fucking loves the Void. She might not have gotten very well with the old gods for some reason, and it would be interesting to explore why that's the case. But I mean, she's all about the Void, right? She's all about getting the world soul for the Void. Do you think we'll deal with a Ridicron in War Within? I don't think a Ridicron will appear in the War Within at all. I don't think we'll see him at all in the War Within. I don't think we'll see him until the end of Midnight. I think he will literally appear in the cinematic at the end of the final raid of Midnight. And that'll be the first time we see him since the last time we saw him. And he will be like, cheers for doing that. Here's my plan. I'm going to get the Titans here now. Like, seriously, I actually don't think we'll see him until the end of Midnight. Maybe it'll be like the Void come and Xal'atath and the Old Gods are their right and left hand and they fight for their favor. Yeah, maybe something like that. Maybe. So yeah, but I am so into the story of the War Within. Like, the stakes are high, the characters are cool. The idea that it is this thing that goes over 3 expansions is so exciting. Like, it gives so much breadth for speculation and things like that. But the thing is, at the moment, I can't think of anyone that could be the final boss of the War Within apart from Xal'atath, except one person. There's one other person that I can think of that might be the final boss of the War Within. If someone can guess in the chat, I'll send you a dick pic. No, I won't. Not Anduin, not Alleria, not Zoval, not Thrall, not Magni, not the Arathi woman. Oh! 10 Eoniov, you're getting a dick pic from me. Yeah, the Emperor. The Emperor is the only other person I can imagine it being. Like, the Emperor is clearly not a good guy. The Emperor, the Arathi Emperor in the lands beyond, the Western Storms. My suspicion is that they're setting him up to be a baddie after the World Soul Saga. That would make the most sense. We do the World Soul Saga, and like, as part of the World Soul Saga, the storms lift or whatever, and like the whole other side of Azeroth becomes available. That would be like the obvious kind of reboot, right? And then the Emperor is over there, right? And the Arathi Emperor, who might not be pleased to see anyone who isn't Arathi. We've been told, like we talked to Faeryn about the Emperor and the Empire, and she's like, "Yeah, man, the Empire is great. Don't think he'd like you very much." Yeah, the Scarlets is kind of doing them disservice a little bit, but yeah, something like that, right? Okay, so that's my thinking, right? I don't think he will be the final boss of the War Within. I think they're saving him for. I don't think he'll appear in the World Soul Saga, but if he did, it'd probably be in the Last Titan. I think they're saving him as a big baddie after the World Soul Saga, right? That's what I think, anyway. And but yeah, so that's my big worry, is that we'll kill Xal'atath at the end of the World Soul Saga, and that would be disappointing. She's still an amazing baddie, whatever happens, but I would be disappointed just because I like her so much, and I'd like her to be. I mean, look, if I had my way, we'd keep her for the whole World Soul Saga, but I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think there'll be any Void stuff beyond Midnight. think Midnight is the big Void expansion, and we won't see it beyond that, which is a shame because I love the Void. The Void is like some of my favorite stuff in WoW, but it is what it is. Yeah, you don't share my fear according to the poll, so that's good. I'm happy about that, and I hope you're right.